To the rest of the world, she is immortal. She is the Amazonian princess who spun into gold, the woman who deflected bullets with her bracelets, and the icon who taught a generation of little girls that they could be the heroes of their own stories. For 50 years, Lynda Carter has been the face of strength, beauty, and resilience. She was the woman who had it all: the fame, the voice, and the unbreakable spirit. But what happens when the strongest woman in the world loses the one thing that made her feel safe? At 74 years old, Lynda Carter is facing a battle that no golden lasso can win. While the world remembers the dazzling smile and the blue eyes that captivated millions, the reality of her life today is painted with a profound and heartbreaking silence. Behind the closed doors of her Potomac home, the Wonder Woman we know is navigating a tragedy so deep that she has admitted to crying 3 times a day just to cope. This isn't a story about a celebrity. This is a story about a soulmate lost, a silence that is deafening, and the crushing weight of grief that comes after the applause fades. This is the heartbreaking tragedy of Lynda Carter, and the incredible strength it takes to keep living when your world has fallen apart. To truly understand the depth of the tragedy she faces today, we first have to understand the journey that came before it. Because Lynda's life hasn't always been the fairy tale it appeared to be on magazine covers. Back in the 1970s, Lynda Carter wasn't just a star. She was a global phenomenon. But fame, as they often say, is a golden cage. While she was saving the world on television, Lynda was struggling desperately to save herself in real life. The pressure to be perfect was suffocating. She was typecast, objectified, and viewed by Hollywood executives more as a doll than a human being with feelings and intellect. She once noted that she felt like she was playing a character even when the cameras were off, trapped in an image she couldn't escape. It was during this era of extreme visibility that a shadow began to creep into her life, a shadow that would follow her for years. To cope with the unhappiness of a disastrous first marriage and the relentless pressures of Hollywood, Lynda turned to alcohol. It was a slow, quiet descent. She wasn't the tabloid party girl crashing cars. She was the high-functioning alcoholic, the woman who would drink a glass of wine to numb the pain, then another, until the emptiness felt a little less sharp. She was Wonder Woman on the screen, invincible and perfect, but at home, she was unraveling. But then, the narrative of her life shifted in a way that felt like destiny. In 1982, after escaping her toxic first marriage and stepping away from the chaotic dating scene in Los Angeles, Lynda met a man who didn't care about the costume, the fame, or the Hollywood status. His name was Robert A. Altman. He was a high-powered Washington, D.C. lawyer, brilliant, charismatic, and grounded. He wasn't Hollywood. He was real. Lynda often called Robert her real-life superhero because he saw the woman beneath the armor. They married in 1984, and Lynda did something that shocked the entertainment world. She walked away. She left the glitz and glamour of Los Angeles for the quiet, tree-lined suburbs of Washington, D.C. to build a life with Robert. For the first time, she had genuine stability. They had 2 beautiful children, James and Jessica, and it looked like the happily ever after she had always deserved. However, the demons from her past weren't done with her yet. By the mid-1990s, her drinking had returned, threatening to destroy the beautiful family life she had fought so hard to build. She was hiding bottles, hiding her pain, and slowly drifting away from the people she loved most. This is where the story could have ended in tragedy, but Robert didn't let her. In a moment of desperate love, he looked her in the eyes and asked her to choose the alcohol or them. He didn't scream and he didn't judge. He begged her to save herself because he loved her too much to watch her fade away. Lynda went to rehab, fought for her sobriety, And with Robert holding her hand every step of the way, she won. She has been sober for over 25 years, often crediting Robert with saving her life. He was her anchor. For 37 years, they were inseparable. In an industry where marriages often last months, theirs lasted a lifetime. They were a team who finished each other's sentences, laughed at the same jokes, and navigated the world as one. Lynda thought they would grow old together. She thought they had time. But life, as we know, is rarely fair even to heroes. In late 2020, while the world was focused on the global pandemic, a private war was being waged inside the Altman Carter home. Robert was diagnosed with myelofibrosis, a rare and aggressive blood cancer. For months, they fought it privately. Lynda, the woman who played a character that was invincible, found herself completely helpless against a disease she couldn't punch, outsmart, or lasso. She transitioned from wife to caretaker, becoming her nurse and her cheerleader. She watched the man who had been her rock, the man who saved her from addiction, slowly fade before her eyes. On February 3rd, 2021, the unthinkable happened. Robert Altman passed away. The silence that followed was deafening. Lynda Carter, the woman who had spent decades being strong for everyone else, was shattered. In the weeks and months following his death, Lynda was candid in a way that celebrities rarely are. She didn't offer empty platitudes about moving on or staying strong. She spoke of a grief so physical, it felt like an illness. She told reporters that she couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and mourned him every minute of every day. For 37 years, she had woken up next to him. Now she was waking up in a house that was too big, too quiet, and painfully empty. The tragedy isn't just the death itself, it's the lingering nature of the loss. Lynda has admitted that the hardest part is the little things, unlearning the habits of a lifetime. It's reaching for the phone to text him something funny, only to remember he won't answer. It's walking into a room expecting to see him sitting in his favorite chair, reading the newspaper, only to find an empty space. In a heartbreaking interview, she confessed, "I don't know who I am without him." Think about the weight of that statement. This is Wonder Woman telling us she feels lost. Now at 74, Lynda Carter is living a life she never planned for, a life without her other half. She has tried to fill the void, throwing herself into music and releasing a song titled Human and Divine, which she wrote as a love letter to Robert. The lyrics are gut-wrenching, singing about a love that transcends death. But in her voice, you can hear the crack of a broken heart. Her daughter, Jessica Altman, has been her rock, quitting her law career to pursue music and tour with her mother. They sing together on stage, a beautiful image of mother and daughter bonded by grief. But even on stage, under the bright lights and thunderous applause, Lynda has moments where she looks out into the audience, searching for the one face that is not there. She has spoken about the terror of loneliness, of the evenings where the silence of the house feels heavy. Is this a story of defeat? No, Lynda Carter wouldn't allow that. The tragedy of her grief is undeniable, but so is her resilience. At 74, she is showing the world a different kind of strength. It isn't the strength of steel bracelets or physical power. It is the strength of vulnerability. By speaking openly about her pain, she has become a beacon for widows and those grieving all over the world. She refuses to get over it. Instead, she is teaching us that we don't move on from great love. We move forward with it. She has become a fierce advocate for blood cancer research, determined to stop other families from feeling this pain. She is writing new music, she is showing up, and she is surviving. In a recent post, she wrote, "I am still learning how to navigate this. I am still learning how to be me." The tragedy of Lynda Carter is heartbreaking because it reminds us that time comes for us all. It reminds us that no amount of fame, money, or beauty can protect us from the pain of losing the people we love. But if you look closely at Lynda Carter today at 74, you don't just see a tragedy, you see a triumph. You see a woman who has survived the pressures of Hollywood, the demons of addiction, and the crushing weight of grief, and is still standing. She is no longer playing a superhero. She has become something far more impressive, a survivor. And perhaps that is the most powerful role she has ever played.